Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, visiting Myrtle Beach Kia, and I'm checking out a 2017 Kia Soul. Now this is a very popular vehicle, and this one is in the highest trim level, so it has a lot of cool stuff to show off. So let's go ahead and check it out. This Kia Soul is sitting on 235/45 R18 Nexen tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a 10-spoke design, and I like the way they have that two-tone with the alloy and then the gray background. It kind of makes it have a thinner spoke or a double spoke design. It really looks nice, especially at a little bit of a distance. Now this vehicle also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated disc brakes in the front and solid disc brakes in the back. The name of this color is Bright Silver, and Kia usually has a very interesting way of naming their colors, but in this one it just has a normal name, Bright Silver. So looking at the front of the vehicle, you notice it has quite a bit of black accenting the front as far as the gloss black, and then you have the flat black here. Also a very prominent red line across the front and on the sides. Gives a little bit of character. Also, this is actually added by the dealer. So the new ones, not all of them have this, but this is a little bug deflector. The headlights are HID headlights with a projector tube for your low and your high beams. So they're able to refocus the light to give you the low and high beam pattern. And then you have an LED accent across the bottom and LED fog lights in a reflector housing. This is what your key looks like, and it's a proximity key system, and it's designed to where you can just keep this key in your pocket and use the vehicle without taking it out. It does have some buttons here and little shiny mirror buttons. Look pretty neat. Lock and unlock buttons, of course, the ability to access your trunk by unlocking it there, and a panic button. And you also have a separate key fob for a remote start. So the vehicle's locked. I'm just going to put the key in my pocket. And walking up to the car, just kind of walk up here. You notice that the side mirrors unfold for you, kind of greeting you as you walk up to the vehicle and letting you know that the vehicle has sensed the key within a close proximity of the vehicle too. So to lock and unlock the doors, all you have to do is push this button. So right now it's locked. We just push the button to unlock it or lock it. It gives you access to the vehicle. Do have to have the key near the door though, or not work without the key. Okay, so here's the inside of the passenger door, and it's pretty much all black. You have the gloss black there. The only thing not black is your handle and the speaker bezel. But soft to the touch all around here, around your arm, all the way up into this area as well. Very large pocket in the bottom for whatever you want to put, but it also accommodates a water bottle. And check out that design. It has like that circular pattern there. You'll kind of see that throughout this vehicle. It's pretty neat. Okay, so here's your threshold, and it has a plastic plate there, so when as you're getting in the vehicle, it doesn't like scratch up the paint or whatever. Kind of protects it. Power passenger seat with a combination of leather and cloth here in the center, and then you have that orange contrast stitching in a French design, which is really nice. Kind of looks like stars in the pattern in the cloth in the center. Okay, so here's your floorboard. Let's go ahead and put the seat back all the way so we can get an idea of just a visual reference. I'm going to put all the specs as far as the dimensions and everything in the description in case you want to read all that stuff. But just to give you a visual reference of your legroom here in the front, you can see the floor mat hooks in place, keeping it from sliding forward or whatever. Little circular speaker here, kind of looks like a little landing pad for a flying saucer. So I want to mention that before, but let's go ahead and take a look in the glove compartment. Now this is not just a regular glove compartment. This is a huge like storage bin that you can use for just about anything. I could barely reach the back. Can't even reach the back of it right now. but it is just massive. You also have this little quick access portion here on the front, so has a lot of papers and stuff in there, but I think you can get the idea of the massive compartment here. All the back windows, or the rear windows, have the privacy glass, kind of tinted without a laminate, like a tinted aftermarket tint. It's actually made into the glass. You can see it doesn't reduce your visibility, it actually reduces glare, so you can see that. It's pretty neat. Okay, so here's the inside of the back door. You have that same styling with the circle pattern, different direction this time, I suppose, but really nice. And it's, let's see here, soft to the touch starts down in this area and around your handle, around your armrest. Then you have that same gloss black and a bottle holder. Now you do have heated seats in the front and the back, so there's a 2-stage heated seat control here in the door. There's your threshold and the contrast stitching with the leather and cloth seating. You have some slight bolstering on the ends to kind of simulate a bucket seat, but it's actually a bench seat with a flat portion in the center, and an armrest with some cup holders in case you don't have a center passenger, but if you do, you could just move it out of the way. And the floor is almost completely flat here on the center, so the center passenger is not going to have a big issue with their feet trying to straddle it or whatever. So this seat's all the way back. You remember we pushed it all the way back, and you can see even with it all the way back, you do have significant amount of leg room. So net pockets right in there. You have a USB charge port right here, so you can get an idea what that looks like. Because if you're in the back seat and you're on a long trip, you have to charge your device, cell phone, tablet, that kind of thing. Now these seats will fold down, adding to your cargo space, which we'll get into in a minute. It also has the latch or ISOFIX system for car seats. I like the way they have a flat roof, so you can maintain that headroom throughout the entire vehicle, but they kind of taper the windows to kind of give you that, you know, sporty tapered look. So really good idea as far as the design. So look, taking a look here at the back, has the antenna with a third brake light, LED tail lights, a combination of LED and standard bulbs. You have the red sole badging to match the other red accents. Also a backup camera hidden right in here in the black, the gloss black trim, and it's right in the very center, which is really nice. You have a dual exhaust tips here on the right side, looking all sporty in chrome. And you have those round red reflectors as well. Okay, so we can use the key to unlock the cargo area, the hatch, and then you just push this button under here to release it, and it kind of, for the most part, opens up all the way by itself. So even though you have all the passenger space for the front and back seats, you also have a pretty surprising amount of cargo space back here, because like I mentioned, the roof comes all the way back and kind of gives you that same height. So here's a little shade that you could actually take out if you want to. It kind of hooks in place here. You see what I'm talking about. But you can take that out if you need some extra height. But if you have all the seats occupied with passengers, this is your cargo space, so you can, you know, put some stuff back here. It does have some bag holders and net pocket holders here on the side, as well as a 12-volt power supply. There's your subwoofer, which has a really good sound system. And you have a tie down on this side. There's your anchors for your car seats. You also have some more cargo space under here, so you can lift this up. You can actually take this out of your way if you want to have extra cargo spaces. You can flip it up, or you can literally take this out. And you have this storage bin here, which you can utilize, and you know, underneath that basically that cover, you can utilize this space and then put stuff on top. Or if you really need some extra height, you could take this out as well, And this is really handy to take out because you can, you know, clean it. You can take stuff in the house. You can, you know, it's just a really, it's very, very light. You can see I'm holding it with one hand. It's made out of styrofoam, pretty durable stuff, but it's really handy to have that. But here's some space underneath this portion that you can utilize. So if you want to put a big tall box back here, you can take all this stuff out and you can utilize all this space. And you can actually put this cover down there if you need to. But this does not have a spare tire. It does have the tire inflator kit there. But you can see, kind of gives you some versatility with the way they designed this. As far as, you know, you can have some portable stuff back here. You can also have the different heights. And when you put everything in place, it gives you the ability to have stuff kind of hidden underneath this floor, like so. And it's really easy to move the stuff. Like I'm holding the camera in one hand and doing this all with one hand, and I don't do it all the time, so I'm not really a whiz at it, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. It's pretty easy. Now if you start folding the seats down, if you really need some extra cargo space, you can fold these seats down one or the other, because it's a 60-40 split, and really add massive amounts of space to your cargo space if you don't have the passengers. You can even have passengers and add some more cargo space just by folding one seat down and not the other. There's a lockable fuel door, and it's on the driver's side, which is very convenient. And you can see it has the pretty traditional cap with a little tether system and a place to hold the cap while you're pumping gas. It even clues you in by saying holder right there. The side mirror has this little indicator. Looks like a little car with a car next to it, and it will illuminate when somebody's in your blind spot. So this is a blind spot monitor system, and it has a sensor right back in this area, and it will sense cars that are anywhere from your side mirror all the way back to one car length behind the vehicle. And that way, if you just can't see or whatever over your shoulder, or just out of convenience, you can see that illuminated light and let you know somebody's in your blind spot. Now if you were to put your turn signal in that direction, it's going to flash and try to get your attention and let you know that, hey, there's somebody in your blind spot. It also serves as a rear cross path detection system. So as you're backing out of a parking space, sometimes you can't see around the cars next to you. So it will illuminate when there's a car coming from either direction, and that way you don't back out and get T-boned by a car coming in. But a really handy system. Starting it up, all you have to do is have the key inside. It could be in your pocket or a bag or whatever. And you just put your foot on the brake and hold it and push this button right here. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now we already saw the ability to unlock your fuel door there. Floor mat hooks in place in two places, so it keeps it from sliding and also turning. There's your accelerator and brake pedal, and you can see the accelerator pedal goes all the way to the floor and actually pivots there to keep your foot from getting underneath it or something like that, to where it's kind of like a safety feature to keep the pedal from getting stuck. And then you have a nice footrest here on the left side to put your foot while you're driving. It's like the perfect angle for me anyway. Okay, so let's take a look under the hood. Opening the hood is very easy. It has a little latch a little bit to the right of center right in here. You just lift up on it, and it takes very little effort to lift the hood, and then it gets to the point where it goes the rest of the way up by itself. All right, so here's your engine compartment, and it has an insulated firewall all across the back. And the strut towers are right in here, and you can see they're actually braced in with the unibody structure of the vehicle, so it provides a stronger front end for high-speed driving and also cornering. So your battery is right here under the hood. It's insulated as well. Easy to get to. Okay, so here's your engine. It's a 4-cylinder engine, and it's front-wheel drive vehicle, so the 4 cylinders line up this way. And it has your intake here in the front, and then your exhaust out the back, kind of channeling the heat away from the engine. but it's a turbocharged engine, and it's a direct injection engine as well. And it's paired to a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. And it's a really neat transmission. It feels almost like you're driving a manual transmission, except for you don't have to change gears manually unless you want to. Here's the inside of the driver's side door, and it's just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So let's take a look at those. You have your power window buttons here. Your front two are automatic, one touch up and down, and they go up and down quite fast. There's your door lock controls. You can also lock out all the other windows just in case you have kids in the car. You don't want them playing with the windows. You can do that. You also can adjust your side mirrors here. Just pick a side, left or right. And then you adjust it with this little pad. This button is for your to fold in the side mirror. So we can just push this button and we can fold them in like so. And you can open them up by pushing them that way. And you put it here in the center to have automatically close and open depending on if the vehicle's locked or whatever. All right. So the driver has a power seat just like the passenger, except for they have power lumbar adjustment here. So the driver usually gets a little bit more perks than the passenger. All right. Okay, so right in here, this is where you have your dimmer switch for your interior gauges, your blind spot monitor system, and your rear crosspath detection. You can turn that off if you want to. You can also turn off your traction control if you need to spin tires for whatever reason. Mostly if you get stuck or whatever, you can spin tires. And then your heated steering wheel control is here. So in the wintertime, heated steering wheel, heated seats, that's all good. So right here is an interesting switch. You have, these are lights for your interior around your speakers. So at nighttime, I can't really show you now because it won't show up, but at nighttime you can see the some lights around the speakers, and you can change it to like mood or music. So I don't know, I don't really have a lot of experience with this, but my understanding is they kind of, you know, flash or change colors depending on the music or whatever, and then you can change the brightness right there. It also has a tilt and a telescoping steering column. You can get an idea of the articulation there, and then you just lock it in place. Okay, so sitting in the driver's seat, I'm very comfortable, checking everything out. Very impressive vehicle. I can understand why they sell so well, especially in comparison to other vehicles this size. Okay, so let's go ahead and start here on the steering wheel, or with the steering wheel actually. So the steering wheel is a leather wrapped with the stitching on the inside, and they call it a D-shaped or flat bottom steering wheel. Very sporty looking, especially with the smooth leather here on the top, and then they add the perforated leather here on the sides. See if it'll focus for you. Yeah, look at that, isn't that nice? And then it transitions into the smooth leather at the bottom, and it's not slippery or anything. I mean, it's very comfortable and soft to the touch as well. Really high quality feeling, comfortable steering wheel, and looks cool too. Okay, so your cruise control is here on the right side. So you can just turn it on and cancel it, change through your gears. Pretty standard there. You also have a drive mode for your sport mode, so you can push that and go into your sport mode. It also gives you your torque and your turbo boost information there on the screen when you have it on. It's pretty cool, huh? Also, we'll go into these buttons here because these are having to do more with that screen. We'll go in that a little bit more detail. So let's continue on over here. So this is your volume for your radio. Change through your presets for your radio or to the track depending on what audio source you have. And speaking of that, the mode, which is change your audio source. So AM, FM, satellite radio. You can play music off of a USB or auxiliary input, or Bluetooth wirelessly through a Bluetooth device. So lots of ways of playing music through the sound system. Now you also have your phone controls and a voice recognition system buttons down here, so you can answer calls, hang up, and you can basically bark out orders to the car while you're driving. But it's a really a convenience, but also a safety feature because you keep your eyes on the road. hands on the wheel, and you're staying productive, you know, sending, receiving calls, you know, changing the radio and all that stuff without having to look around and take your eyes off the road. Alright, so your windshield wiper controls are there on the right. Turn signals on the left, but also has your headlight controls. So you have automatic, so you just set it and forget it, and then you have your headlights, parking lights. Then you could turn your daytime running lights off if you choose. You also have the ability to turn on and off your fog lights right here. Okay, so here's your gauges, and it's kind of sunk in there a little ways. You can see it has these side pieces, and this makes it to where it's not so close to your eyes. So when it's a little bit further away, your eyes are focused further away when you're watching the road. So when you look down and you look at the gauges, you don't want your eyes to have to refocus to something super close. So they kind of sunk them in there away from you, so that way it's easier for your eyes to focus on, especially when you have a black background and a white lettering popping out. So that way it's really easy to focus on a high contrast system here. And it's very simple too. It's not overly complicating your eyes when you're trying to, you know, look briefly down at your speed or whatever. You don't want to, you know, lose attention off the road for very long. Okay, so there's your RPMs on the left with your engine coolant temperature. On the right side is your speedometer with your fuel gauge. And you have a digital speedometer here in the center, as you can see, and also it shows your odometer at the top, or your miles to empty, I'm sorry, 42 miles to empty, and then you see your odometers at the bottom right, and then your outside temperatures at the bottom as well. Now, just so let you know, this vehicle is just not driving right now, and it hasn't been driven much, you know, in the last 30 minutes or whatever. So that's the reason why this distance to empty estimation is based on how the vehicle is being driven recently. So that's going to change when you start driving it normally. It's going to have a different number there than what you might expect right now. Okay, so in the center screen, using these buttons I mentioned before, this is a different pages, and then this is to make, you know, going down. This is kind of over. I'll show you. So pushing the pages, you can see at the top it has these three selections at the top. First is your kind of information screen. The next will be your navigation, which is not installed yet. And this is your user settings. So starting here at the first one, now you notice it changes at the top. Now when we're in this selection, we have these little dots here at the bottom showing that we can make more selections by pushing the down arrow. So the digital speedometer, now we can have your fuel economy, so your average, instant, which is, you know, real time. And then you have a little bar at the bottom, which is cool. It kind of shows you what you're doing. And then your accumulated info, which is pretty cool. It has a trip, average miles per gallon, and a timer. Scrolling down again, you have your drive info again, so trip, average, and timer. And then it goes back to your digital speedometer. Moving over, navigations, like I said, is not installed yet. Moving over again with the pages at the top, your user settings. So let's go down in that, and it has a lot of stuff here that you can go into individually and make changes and selections. And go back. I think of course, digital speedometer would be my choice to leave there as your default screen. The other stuff is just there in case you need it. You don't actually have to go into all that stuff if you don't want to. Okay, so looking at the center stack here, it has a big speaker at the top, big circle, landing pad for UFOs. That's what comes to mind. All right, so here's your center stack, and look how big that screen is. It's very, I know it's showing a little bit of a glare on camera, but with my eyes I don't see that glare. It's very clear and easy to read. And it has a traditional volume and tune through the stations. A lot of people really want to have those knobs because they're just so accustomed to it, and it's convenient too as well. Okay, so you also have some buttons around, physical buttons around the screen as well, just kind of give you some quick access points. But looking at the screen, this is your home screen, and you notice it's separated with these little squares here and here. And once you have navigation installed, which the little SD card will go here for your map, you can have that as one of the little windows. So you can have your navigation, your radio, or whatever. And this is all customizable as well. So let's go into all menus, and you can see it gives you basically basically everything what the radio can do. So you have radio, music. You can display images here on the screen. You can play music through the auxiliary input, Pandora. The navigation, like I said, is not hooked up, but there's a little place to go to it once it is. And your phone, you can pair your phone and look at your contacts. Now you can kind of scroll up, and it's going to snap into the next row. So you can scroll, if you get like halfway and let go, it's going to snap into the next row. So that way it keeps them lined up in a grid. And you have the ability to install Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is nice. A lot of people tend to like that kind of stuff. You also have a quick guide which you can go into and kind of read about your car and how to use it. You can go into your climate controls, different voice commands, you can learn what they are. Alright, so let's go back out of that. So you can customize your own menu by going to My Menu, and you can just choose what you want. So right now it just has those, but you can hit Edit, and you can go in and make selections on what you want in your My Menu. So that way you don't have to search for things and look through all this other stuff that you don't even use. At any time, you can always go to this home button and go back to this home screen here. Let's go to the radio. So the radio shows what's playing now, and then you have your presets here on the left, or your favorites. You can direct tune by pushing in like a little keypad here to what number you want if you know exactly what you want. Let's go back out of that. You can also select using a category. Then you have AM, FM, stuff like that. Let's go back home. And let's go to the menu here, because you can play music once you have something plugged in. So something plugged into the USB or the auxiliary or the Bluetooth, then you'll have access to play through different ways. So these are grayed out because there's nothing plugged in. But there's, like I mentioned, lots of different ways of playing music through the sound system here. Okay, so I think you have the idea of how it works. Is basically you have the home screen, then you make the selections there, and then you have the different menus. And of course you have the buttons on the ends that you can quickly go into your media. There's no media available. You can quickly go to the radio, the UVO screen here, which you can go into vehicle diagnostics and vehicle specific screens here. Then your navigation once it's set up and all that stuff. Okay, so right below the screen is your climate control. You have your temperature here in the center, and as you turn it, it shows you your temperature at the top. Your fan speeds here, and mode is where you want the air to blow, so you can change, where the air is blowing, like so. And you have your front and rear defrosters, automatic mode, which you can just kind of set the temperature, and it'll do its own thing, recirculate the air in the air conditioning. You can always go to the climate, push that button, and it's always going to go to the screen to kind of show you what's going on. And then you have a 2-stage heated seat control for your driver and your passenger. So all the seats here are heated, which is nice. Alright, looking down here, it has a pretty good sized storage bin right here, and it's deep, so you can put stuff in there. It's not going to slide out and get in the way. And then you have two 12-volt power supplies. So this one is 180 watt, that's 120 watt. Not sure why the difference there, but that's what it is. Auxiliary and USB ports are here as well. And we already saw your start button. So here's your shifter, check it out. It has this gloss black at the top with the red and a leather portion at the bottom. Really cool looking shifter. And then it has the contrast stitching, just like the seats. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse so we can check out the backup camera. So it has the guidelines there, which you can turn on and off if you want to, but just a very big screen, and having that center view right in the center of the car, and that way you can see behind you really well. Now you notice it's a little bit distorted because it's a wide angle view lens, but it gives you the best view behind the vehicle, so that's what's the most important. So neutral, there's your normal drive position. It's going to cycle through the 7 gear ratios automatically. If you want to do it manually, you just slide it to the left, and you can bump it like a ratchet shifter and actually change through the gears like a manual transmission. That's what I mentioned earlier. You don't have to change through the gears manually, but it kind of feels like a manual because it has a dual clutch transmission. Alright, there's your cup holders, and you can see it's open in the center. so you can utilize this space for more than just cups. It also has a removable rubber mat at the bottom, so you can clean it out easier. You just kind of grab that center portion there and you can pull it out. It's nice and easy. There's your hand actuated parking brake or hand brake. So here's your armrest. It's quite small, so you might have to you know, not share it with your passenger. It depends on how generous you are, but it is very soft to the touch, very soft and comfortable, and it's positioned at a pretty good height as well. And this lifts up. It's kind of dished out underneath, and then you have this storage compartment here and a USB charge port. So this is for charging only, so this is not to play music through the sound system. This is for charging your device. And it has a little place for the wires to go in and out of this compartment right here. If you need to plug it in and run the wire out, you can do it right there. Alright, so here's your rear view mirror, and it's manually, day and night mode is manual. Has a place to put your shades, and it's an extremely soft felt on the inside to protect them, keep them from rattling around as well. There's your interior tap lights. You can turn on all your interior lights by pushing that button, and you can turn them on. They'll turn on with the door if you make that selection there. So your visors have a nice big mirror in them, and they also have these lights up here, so you can turn those on if you want to. Has a little clip, which is nice. Pretty much the same thing on the passenger side. Okay, let's look at the visibility in the back. So it has that window in the back directly, and the headrests don't seem to get in the way. They kind of line up with the pillar back there. But you have lots of side windows here. So you have that little window in the back, and then you have a great big side door window, which is nice. You can see over your shoulder, you see your blind spot, and I think it's pretty good as far as this type of vehicle, as far as the visibility in the back. Of course, you have all the sensors and the cameras and all that stuff to help you out as well. All right, so there you have it, 2017 Kia Soul. Really nice vehicle. It's the seats are comfortable. It has lots of room, good gas mileage. I mean, it's just a really, really interesting vehicle. So thank you for watching, and let me know what you think about the vehicle and the video in the description, or in the comments, I mean. So more information in the description. A lot of the specs and all that stuff is going to be in there. So thank you for watching, and thank you to Myrtle Beach Kia here in Myrtle Beach for allowing me to check out another awesome vehicle, and I'll see you guys next time.